The banger episode kicks off with Hae-In staring at the gate like it personally offended her. Inside that portal, Sung Jin-Woo, and she cannot wrap her head around why a porter, a glorified bag carrier, would willingly walk into a high-ranking dungeon. Something ain't adding up. And their last encounter? Yeah, still weird. She could have sworn she saw a dagger in his hand, but when she blinked, poof, gone, magic trick, hallucination. She didn't know, but she was going to find out. So she did what any reasonable S-rank hunter would do. She decided to waltz right into the dungeon. But one small issue. No weapon. Right, minor oversight. She turned to a miner Ha and asked if he had anything she could use. The guy scratched his head, rummaged through his stuff, and proudly handed her a pickaxe. Hae-In blinked. A pickaxe? The miner nodded. A pickaxe. There was a long silence. Do you have anything else? Like, I don't know, a sword, a spear? The miner shrugged. Nope. She froze, stared at her empty hands, and then, embarrassingly, ran back to the miner and snatched the pickaxe back. Thought so. Meanwhile, inside the dungeon, things were not looking great. Jin-Woo and his party, completely surrounded by an army of orcs built like professional bodybuilders, and these weren't your average fantasy grunts. No, these absolute units were slamming their weapons against the ground so hard it felt like the whole dungeon was shaking. Intimidation tactic. A flex, and it was working. Jin-Woo, completely unbothered, everyone else, 2 seconds away from peeing themselves. The party leader, though, different breed. Yeah, he was scared. Yeah, he was sweating bullets, but he wasn't thinking about survival, he was thinking about closing the gate. Even if he had to die, if he could take down the boss, at least the dungeon wouldn't spill over into the real world. And then the boss of the dungeon stepped forward. A massive, monstrous figure radiating pure menace. He looked down at the trembling hunters and dungeon boss. Tell me, are you afraid? Bro, seriously? You kidnapped them, trapped them, and surrounded them with war-ready orcs, and now you're asking if they're scared. Of course they're scared, my guy. But apparently that wasn't terrifying enough because the boss then unleashed his aura. Instantly, the air turned suffocating. Hunters froze, their bodies refusing to move. Some even collapsed on the spot. Hope officially dead, but the party leader, different breed, shaking, barely holding himself together, he forced himself to speak. Party leader, what do you want from us? The boss smiled. Dungeon boss, entertainment. Oh, fantastic. Not only were they about to die, but they were also about to be tortured for fun. At this point, half the hunters were probably praying for a quick death, but the party leader, still standing, still refusing to back down. Even in the face of absolute terror, he made a decision. He was fighting. Charge, and guess what? Nobody moved. His whole team was frozen in fear, but he didn't care. Even alone, he rushed forward, sword raised, aiming straight for the dungeon boss. Unfortunately, the boss caught his sword with 2 fingers. Didn't even blink. Dungeon boss, weak, and then he lifted his hand. The party leader's body shot into the air. Anti-gravity magic, and then slam. The party leader hit the ground hard, then again, and again, and again. He was getting ragdolled across the dungeon floor like a chew toy, bones cracking with each impact. His teammates, watching in horror. They couldn't do anything. Hope, completely gone. And then, just as things were about to reach rock bottom, Jin-Woo finally moved. Dungeon boss noticing him for the first time. Jin-Woo asked the leader for permission to solo the dungeon. The injured leader requested Jin-Woo with his heart to help them. It was all that Jin-Woo needed to hear. After receiving the permission, Jin-Woo started approaching the boss. The boss, in an attempt to terrify Jin-Woo, unleashed an even more powerful aura than before. Everyone were shocked except Jin-Woo. He remarked that although he have so far not seen any enemy with such an immense aura, but still it was a bad match. Obviously not for Jin-Woo, but rather for the boss. As he said, Jin-Woo called all of his shadow army into the battle. The atmosphere completely changed as now 2 armies of Jin-Woo and the dungeon boss were looking each other face to face. Things were getting excited inside the dungeon. On the flip side, outside the dungeon, executive Jin-Chul arrived to investigate Jin-Woo. Similar Hae-In. He too had taken an interest on Jin-Woo and wanted more information on him. That's why he arrived there. Jin-Chul asked the miners about Jin-Woo's whereabouts. They answered that Jin-Woo has went inside the dungeon as a miner. Jin-Chul was unable to process why Jin-Woo, about to be an S-rank hero, was working as a miner. Jin-Chul was about to enter the dungeon, but as he was doing that, immense aura of the dungeon boss leaked out. And Jin-Chul immediately understood something was wrong. He directed his members to verify the rank of gate once again. Hae-In also sensed the danger and remarked if she didn't arrive for their aid soon enough they all will die. But could they be so wrong? Common on man, we have the solo leveler inside the dungeon, what could possibly go wrong? Jin-Woo was facing the dungeon boss. He already summoned his whole army. But as if it was not enough, Jin-Woo flexed his new ability Monarch Domain, which significantly boosts the strength of his shadow summonings. Now each shadow's color changed from blue to purple. Jin-Woo unclocked this ability after reaching level 70. He and his shadow army were now even more powerful than before. The dungeon boss, looking down Jin-Woo, started attacking his shadow army. He wiped a lot of the shadows, but Jin-Woo simply resummoned them. He stated that unlike the dungeon boss's army, his shadow summonings can be recalled once they die. Jin-Woo had an advantage over him, but surprisingly the dungeon didn't phase at all. He started to destroy even more of his summonings. He reminded Jin-Woo that there is no advantage, and he will just keep destroying the shadow until Jin-Woo's mana drains out. The dungeon was also very skilled. He was managing to destroy the shadows along with attacking Jin-Woo time to time. Jin-Woo noted that the boss kept his distance, but still was to launch powerful attacks through his magic. Surprisingly, on the other side, Jin-Chul discovered that there was a false assessment of the dungeon, and the rank of this gate was S rank, and not a rank. He immediately issued an order reinforcement of S-rank heroes to assist the team trapped inside the dungeon. Simultaneously during the battle, Jin-Woo started turning the dead orc soldiers into his shadows, and declared that soon he will do the same with the remaining soldiers and the boss dungeon. The enemy was pissed. Choi Jong, on the other hand, was preparing his team outside to aid the dungeon team. But little did they know what could a team provide when Jin-Woo already had an army inside the dungeon. And his army was really proving capable. Shadows like Igris, Iron, and Tank were single-handedly taking out multiple orc soldiers. The circumstances were becoming brutal for the dungeon boss. Now he was serious, and started matching down his throne towards Jin-Woo. The boss casted his most powerful curse spell against Jin-Woo, but shockingly it failed. Jin-Woo clarified that due to his unique skill, he is immune to curse and poison spells. Angered boss launched another spell attack, but Jin-Woo's mage army instantly nullified it and turned it into a counterattack, successfully hitting the boss. The boss was dumbfounded. Jin-Woo's party members couldn't believe the power of Jin-Woo was greater than all of them combined. They thought, how could a porter be so damn strong? Just in that time, Ki-hee also arrived at the scene. She had the same reaction as party members. Despite being an S rank, she couldn't comprehend the situation. The boss was furious. He started attacking with all his might. He activated all of his strongest spells and launched an assault against Jin-Woo. But the stylish Jin-Woo had no worry, as he easily dodged every single attack of the enemy. The enraged boss's attack was not only hurted Jin-Woo's shadow, but he also killed his own soldier in his rage. He couldn't allow Jin-Woo, a mere mortal, to ridicule him. But Jin-Woo, showing the boss his place, perched his eye with his blade and ridiculed him even further. He remarked that did the boss really think he would defeat Jin-Woo and Hae-In without any protection? This made the boss even more furious, and he turned the whole room onto a lava floor. But Jin-Woo had no difficulty evading this also. He then simply grabbed a chain and simply shackled the boss with it, making him fall to the ground. As this was happening, Jin-Chul also arrived there and saw the whole battle already ongoing. Ka-hee approached Manger-Woo and asked him why he was there. He replied he was there because of Jin-Woo. It amazed Ki-hee even Manager-Woo was interested in him. Why everybody is so fixated on Jin-Woo, she asked herself. Both Ki-hee and Manger-Woo was now witnessing the true power of Jin-Woo now. Even these two had never seen anything like this happen ever before again. Jin-Woo approached the downed boss. The boss was now terrified. He used his last strength to retaliate, but Jin-Woo's shadow army cornered him and easily executed the boss. Jin-Woo leveled up again after this grinding, and after this, without much thought, Jin-Woo extracted the shadow of the boss. The boss of the dungeon now became a loyal shadow of Jin-Woo. Everyone in the room was flabbergasted. Jin-Woo named his new shadow Tusk. Tusk had a status which was higher than any other Jin-Woo had. Now Jin-Woo got a new powerful shadow along with an army of orc shadows. Manger-Woo approached Jin-Woo. Jin-Woo was shocked, as because of shadow extraction he completely didn't notice him. He was dumbfounded, but nonetheless, without any questioning, Manager-Woo offered to Jin-Woo to safely exit without garnering any more attention. Jin-Woo politely accepted this offer. But as he was leaving, Jin-Woo's team leader thanked him for his help and genuinely appreciated Jin-Woo's assistance. After Jin-Woo left, and party member of Jin-Woo asked Ki-hee why she was holding a pickaxe, Ki-hee was embarrassed. She asked the party members if Jin-Woo have thought that she was worried. Man, it was clear Ki-hee was simping for our boy Jin-Woo. Manager-Woo asked everyone in the dungeon to keep everything about this incident a secret, as he didn't want to reveal Jin-Woo's identity. But after some time, we see the party leader talking with Choi Jong, and he told him everything. Out of curiosity, Choi Jong asked the ranked team leader, "What do you think, who is stronger, Jin-Woo or me?" The team leader replied, "Sir, do you think you could ever solo such a powerful dungeon alone?" The answer was obviously no. It easily clarified who was the strongest. So this was all for today's video. Subscribe Mostly Dark for more awesome content. And for the meantime, goodbye and see you again.